Okay.
All right. So I'm going to pull a Darla and I'm going to say, give me a minute. Okay, so for the benefit of all those who have an opportunity to view this particular recording, my name is Jim Ahmad Dogon McWilson. I'm with the Family Empowerment and Student Achievement Institute, which is a part of the National Task Force on Best Academic Practice Models for Black Students, which is led by Dr. Adora Obi Inwizi from the state of Florida. We are going to take a look today, an overview of a particular school that fell within my scope. As I was looking through several different states, I went to Dr. Inwizi's state because I know they're going to be doing work there, but I'd like to put kind of put on the table some idea of what's going on there. And there are a couple of words that I think is important um, for the team and for everyone else. And we can discuss this later, but it'll give you some idea. Uh, Number one, Florida uses a couple of terms. And the first term, Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
do you see Florida assessment of student thinking and best
Yes.
assessment? Okay, so Florida uses two things. As you can see here, you can link into these things. FAST, their FAST system is the Florida Assessment of Student Thinking. That's what they use that for. I wanted to go a little bit more into depth in terms of achievement level description of their BEST standards. And their best standards or basic benchmarks that they use. So I'm going to kind of scroll up here. And for anyone from Florida that wants to get an in-depth picture of this, this is actually on the Florida website. And it explains that achievement level descriptions describe a student's level of achievement. For example, below grade level, on grade level, proficient. On a large scale assessment, the Florida Department of Education develops these assessments to guide participants during the standard setting process for its statewide assessment, offer score interpretation on student reports, and further teacher understanding of expectations for the progression of student performance at each achievement level. The purpose of the achievement level descriptions and its development of this framework is to enable valid references about student content area knowledge and skill in relationship to a state's content standard measured on a large scale assessment. The interesting piece on this particular in terms of how they do this. I just want to bring it up. Florida statute, meaning Florida law. Again, every state has to look at its laws and go by those standards. Florida statute specifies that level 3 on its achievement level scale, which ranges from level 1 to level 5, indicates on grade level performance. Level 4 and 5 describe growth. There's that word growth again, of value added, beyond the level 3 expectations and indicate proficiency in the standards. Now, that's just an overview and an introduction. They have a link directly to this whole process, but I want to go to this one area Darla's not on, but I'm going to use this as a piece to give you an idea of what this best is, what this best standards, and this is grade level English language arts. Now, this whole um, booklet, PDF, which you can get online, gives you a description in terms of grade level 3. So achievement level description, describe a student's level of achievement. It repeats what it said in the front. The purpose of the ALD development framework is to enable valid references about student content area, knowledge, and skill in relation to a state content standards measured on a large scale. So as you can see here, there's level 1. A student at this level demonstrates that they are well below grade level with respect to the challenging content of the best standards as set by Florida. Level 2, students at this level demonstrate that they are below grade level with respect to challenging content of the best standards. Now, the nice thing about this is, as you can see, those of you can see on the screen, it goes through and describes what a student performing at level 2, what does that mean? What are the bullets? And there are multiple bullets that literally describe what they should know as a content standard, which should make it easier for the teacher that is inserting this into the local curriculum, whatever city that is within the state. In terms of a level 3, the student at this level demonstrates on grade level success with the challenging content of the best standards. And then it describes in detail over about a page and a half what that is. And then level 4, students at this level demonstrate a proficient level of success with the challenging content of best standards. And then it goes to level 4, level 5. Students at this level demonstrate exemplary success with the most challenging content of the best standards. So I wanted to kind of bring that up so that when you see the levels, as in Ohio, they're using 5 stars. They used to use 5 levels. And Florida uses what Ohio used to use in terms of A, B, C, D, F. So the 2 words, best, B-E-S-T, and fast, F-A-S-T. And we can go back and discuss that a little bit more if you'd like. This is a particular school that I chose to take a look at. And this is the Henry S. West Laboratory School report card. Dr. Weezy, are you familiar with this school?
What did you say it was? I was trying to.
It's called the Henry S. West Laboratory School. It's in Miami-Dade.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not, but I will be
okay, well, when I send this to you
in a few hours.
well, I'll make sure you get, well, I'm going to make sure you get this because this is the reason I'm doing it, just so that when the education committee does its work, the first place they need to start is have an empirical data based on state law, the state statute, and know in depth what best and fast means, because that's what the state uses to determine what's happening. The principal there is Michelle Sanchez. Her phone number is 305-661-7661. And the address is there. There's a link to their particular school. There's a map, as you can see, which is located where in Florida they're located. This is one of the things that I really like about this particular report card. Instead of having to go find the history, you see the history of their testing model for the last 5 or 6 years. For instance, they already have the results for 25-26 already up. They have a comparison for 25-26 in terms of overall. They had an A on their report card overall, and from 2021-22 all the way up to 2023 25, 26. Right up front, it states whether or not this school was identified in indeed in additional support, and they have a criteria for that support. It has not needed additional support other than the norm for the last 5 years in a row, which is one of the reasons they're where they are. This is the mathematics scorecards. Theirs is horizontal, but as you can see, this is the school. Then they do a comparison between the school district, and they do a comparison the state, which I find to be very nice. The one thing I want you to pay attention to, for those of you that are reviewing this right now, is to look at the bar here for the school. The group that I filtered for was for Black African American students. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because of all of the quote barn of books, Black authors, erasing Black achievement, trying to erase Black people, trying to economically undermine Black people. The state law still requires at this juncture information that we need. So in this particular group, the filter was for Black African American students in mathematics on all achievement levels, specifically here, mathematics assessment. Looking at this particular school, this is level 1, right? You remember what level 1 was? Level 2 and level 3 and 4. So basically at this particular school, in looking at the various levels in terms of on grade to exemplary, some 80% of the students are on the mark in mathematics. And that's very important. And again, what you're looking at is for Black African American students. I did not search for comparative analysis. I looked at what's their FAST criteria and what their best criteria are in terms of standards, and to look directly at this. This school is outperforming the district overall, and it is outperforming the state overall in mathematics. So Dr. Louise, I thought it would be a good school for you to set a high standard that could be used overall to see. In terms of Florida school accountability, this is where all the reports come from. And I'm going to go back to this just because I want to switch and show you what's staying within the group. Going back to subject, as you can see here. And on subject, go to English Language Arts. And then view that particular chart. It makes it, the transition is easier. And now we are in 2025 English Language Arts. And again, I think, again, the laboratory school in and of itself, basically, and these are, again, Black African descendant students, 90% of them are level 3, 4, and 5, which means they're on grade level to exemplary. And over 40% of them are in level 5, so which is tremendous. So I wanted to go over those basic numbers, and without having to go through the demographics of the school, because our target is right in front of us, and that's Black African American students. So again, this is the Florida Department of Education. It is one of the schools that will wind up on the Florida list, but I wanted to get it up so that as Dr. Louise is working with the people that are coming to speak, there is a school that can be pointed to that has had an exemplary record for the last 5 years. And anytime you can post these kind of numbers for 3 to 5 years in a row, you're doing something right. And then you can take a look at everything else. But in terms of here, It's all here. It's even more in more depth. But again, looking at what they've done, what the teachers have done, without knowing the makeup of the staff, without knowing the evaluation of the staff, without knowing the mobility in the school, without knowing the discipline record of the school, without knowing any of all those things, and without knowing the funding in the school, what we're looking for is what has been the outcome of all those things. And the outcome is best academic practice models for Black students. So I'm going to stop sharing it at this point, and we can have some discussion about this particular process. Okay. Okay, if you can unmute, and Dr. Weezy, I'll give you first shot at any questions you may have about the school's level academic performance.
I would like to know first about what is the did you give us the percentages in the race column, ethnic groups?
Well, in this
Right.
what yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. In this particular when Mrs. Miller was learning how to use the system, and Dr. Sidbury, you can Mrs. Sidbury, you can kick in here, Umoja, if you want. I think this goes on in Florida. You filtered by Black, right?
Correct.
Okay. So Florida and North Carolina offers the same ability to simply filter by Black only, which makes it much better. So the only numbers that I was talking about was specifically for Black African descendant students. So it's when we first did this a year or so ago, one of the things that Florida allowed you to do was to build your own report card. And that may also be the case in North Carolina. Is this the very?
We can't necessarily build our report card, but we can filter and look at things on the report card.
Okay.
But when it comes to the desegregated, the spreadsheet that the state offers, you can look at the spreadsheet to identify the demographics that you want to look for.
Okay. So one thing about Florida, and I'm comparing Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio at this point, is Florida would be a best practice, would rise to the top because you can do it all directly from the report card and without going through anything in terms of changing pages and having to go to 4 or 5 pages. You can do all of that looking at the front of the report card, because the first thing that you filter for is for Black African students. So that's only thing that appears. So that 90% and that 80% was specifically for Black African descendant students in that particular school. Okay. Any other questions, Dr. Mazie?
No more questions, but I do have a statement before we finish, before we leave this.
Okay. Oh,
When saying?
you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. What I want to say is the person who is coming to us on next Wednesday is a NAACP president of the Miami-Dade branch. She has a background of being, but she's a part Haitian. Her mother's from Haiti, and so her last name Pierre gives you that she is as well. But she has been a very good person in terms of the work that she's doing.
Great.
I was so shocked today. I thought I would not be in a position to get on this phone tonight. Do you know what she asked me? She said, Dr. Dora, would you please agree to be our education chair for the branch that you started. I just fell out of the phone. What in the world? I don't understand why she would ask me that. She said, well, the other people who've come in here, they just haven't really done, they're not taking the time. And, she went on to say what the problem was. I said, we'll have a discussion on that later to see what we're going to do. But nonetheless, this is the branch that we consolidated, one branch out of 5 branches that did exist back in the 80s. And once we got the 5 branches consolidated, I had just gotten my first recommended to the top position at the Opelika branch. I was president of the Opelika branch for 1 term, 2 years. At the end of 2 years, it was decided that we would consolidate the 5 branches, and they voted for me to head it. So I led that. And when we came out with one consolidation called the Miami-Dade branch, 1 year, the first year, at the end of that year, the South Dade branch complained and wanted to separate out of the 5 and just leave the 4 because they said that it was too far in the South and too far to travel just for a meeting to the other places. And we voted yes to support that. So that is what happened. And so from there, they don't seem to leave me be, and they're trying to find every way they can for me to come back. And I'm just that is, I thought was very interesting. But they need a lot of help, and I understand that. So I will try to figure out what it is that I can do reasonably in order to help them go where they need to go in the field of education.
Really, very good. Good practice, good people.
So, I'm sorry?
I say good practice, good people. They know what they need. So hopefully you can help them.
Yeah. But she will be coming, and so I think you'll find that interesting as, that she will share of what she's doing.
Okay. Any other questions on
So,
what Dr. Mazie stated or the school?
I have a question about the school. And Dr. The school is located in Miami-Dade, correct?
Yes.
the one that we discussed.
Yes, the one
Yeah.
we discussed. And Mr. Matt Wilson, in the naming of the school, you indicated it was a lab school.
Well, the name of the school, I've not done a history on it. I would leave that up to whoever is going to be doing that there. Here's the name of the school in the front of the report card here. Henry S. West Laboratory School report card is located.
Yes, I was just trying. Yes. And we can see if it's connected to a university or a college.
Yeah, you could probably just Google that to find out if it's connected.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah,
Henry S. West Laboratory.
Yeah, Henry S. West Laboratory School report card. Now, there's lots of other data. One, I just wanted to make sure that, because I knew Dr. Louise was engaging the people there, but this is the basic information that everyone needs to know coming into the process of being trained in. Mrs. Miller, who was elected, I believe, secretary there, actually knows all this stuff. But again, it was the school. It was an opportunity to look specifically at the year and how many years they have performed at a high level in terms of, as they classify here, Black/African American students. You can switch to, we did English language arts and math. You can also do science and social studies, which is also unusual. So from the standpoint of reporting, identifying, verifying, validating, and authenticating quote, the performance of the school, I find this exemplary because you get it on the report card front sheet, you're getting 90% of the information you need up front. And in the two areas that we were looking at, specifically starting with reading and assessment, they're doing extremely well. So your question about who they're connected to would be good if you want to look that up, but specifically
I did.
to know whether or not Dr. Weezy would have a school in her mind that measures up. So when people start talking about schools, they need to start with what works as opposed to what not working, because that's normally
Yes.
the pitch. Best academic practice as an asset model is you start with what assets you have so that you know how to measure the rest. And this one is straight A's across the board in reading, English language arts, as well as in mathematics. And also, this is August, and their data for 2026 is already up. So,
And no, Miss and team and Dr. Weezy, I was asking because when we also look at best academic practice model schools, like this school is a model laboratory school. The school is connected to the University of Miami. And so when we look at what laboratory schools should be, when they have that connection to universities or colleges, this school is excelling and exemplifying what a best practice school looks like. So that's why I was asking, because it was in the name when we start looking at schools
right.
and that special recognition of what it should look like when a lot of schools are connected to universities, laboratory schools. This is one that exceeds expectations.
Great. The other thing that this one, again, I want to go back to technique, especially for those of us that have to do the research. For New York, Mrs. Sitberry and I and Mrs. Waters did some work with them, including a meeting with the, I think Mrs. Moore was on the call when we met with the New York assessment director. And their material is cumbersome. So it's like how do you make things easier for parents or for students or family members? This is the easiest one that I've found to give the maximum amount of information on the front page. Ohio gives, I would say, if I rate these A, B, C, D, F, this would be an A in terms of ease of information once you get into report cards, because you can switch report cards while you're on the same page. Ohio, because they use 6 assessments across the board, so you get an overview, which is very good as well. This supersedes that only because it gives you the ratings, it gives you the fact they're talking about on grade level, which most schools don't want to talk about. I hear educators here of late saying, what does being on grade level means? Well, when the state is writing the rules and they're writing the statute and you are teaching in that state, if the state has already defined what it is, if you want to change that, then you have to start your own school. Because at some point, you need benchmarks, you need goals, you need objectives. And at the end of the day, we need to know how our students perform based upon the funding you have, the barriers that were removed, and whether or not you're an egalitarian educator that wants to educate all the children. And in this particular school, they met all those criteria. And that's why I wanted to pull this one up to send this. And Dr. Weezy, once this is edited, I will send it to you so you can share it.
Yes. And I will also look all this up too, because I was very fortunate to get to receive a fellowship that for 1 year I was teaching, and they came out looking for some of us, and I was selected, and so I received my master's from the University of Miami in guidance and counseling. So I will definitely be able to look this up and see what's going on.
Very good. I'll send you a link to this, and once it's edited, I'll send the tape as well, so you can actually dive deeper into school. What we're trying to provide for those of you who are observing this, we're trying to provide you with what are the basics of things that you don't know. 90% of the parents would not know how to look this information up, but it's nice for parents, for family members, for students, and any teachers that may be interested in being on the same page with the parents. Then you're on the A, B, C, D, F level. Okay,
I'm excited about it for sure. Yes.
great. Darla's not on. Mrs. Moore, do you want to take us out tonight?
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
All right. If there's nothing else, this
Shade. Yes, ma'am.
all right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh, you're welcome.